Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I've got this big piece of driftwood right here. You can see that it stands probably about 7 foot tall, and I'm gonna take a grinder to this thing and see if I can get it cleaned up. I think I'm gonna create some type of an art piece. Stick around for the whole process. It's gonna be a lot of fun, and we're gonna make a big old mess today. All right, so let's go. Yeah, so I've got holes all through this thing, which I kind of knew. So why not I just focus on the holes, make the holes even bigger, and see if we can create some kind of a web of holes, bigger holes, and maybe that'll clean up really good. I'm not sure. Well, we'll see. Let's have some fun. Yeah, so I'm gonna go with this guy right here. I got a link to this piece. I got it off Amazon, but this thing will do some serious damage in here. All right, let's get going. All right. This thing is gnarly, but it's much lighter. Yeah, so I'm gonna keep drilling these holes, right, all throughout, and just create like a little cavern, right? Sorry, just create like a driftwood cavern, just full of these holes. I'm gonna keep working that. and keep drilling through it. All right, see, ooh, yeah. Wicked cool, just wicked cool. All right, well, my stupid phone, my iPhone storage is full, so it stopped recording. But you can see I was cleaning right here and this broke. It's not that big of a deal because it actually looks pretty cool. But I've got to be real careful with this up here, that's for sure. Yeah, so very messy, very hot. I'm shutting it down for the day because I can't do any more. I'm getting a headache. But there you go. I'm just gonna keep on hacking away at this and try to make it as organic as possible. And again, you know, with my inspiration being the holes that were already there naturally, and just kind of expanding on that, and you know, there's still some more work to do on some of those holes, and because I really like the way this looks up here. I just need to get in here and get that cleaned up. Anyway, another day. Y'all take care. See you in a few. So as I work through the piece, I use this particular gouge ball and just try to smooth out those channels and smooth out each of the holes, just trying to create a really natural look to this piece to where it kind of flows across the entire length of the board. And this takes about 45 minutes actually. Okay, so what you're seeing now, all these holes, I've just got to clean those up with a sander. Some of this is getting really thin, and I don't want a chance cracking it with the grinder. So now I'm going to hit it with a 60 grit sandpaper. Not put a whole lot of pressure, but I'm trying to get this smoothed up, and I want this side here to be as flat as possible. Let me see if I can show you what I mean. Okay, so this gives you an idea of kind of the progress that we've made so far. It's still really rough, right? But I'm going to keep working with the sander now and try to flatten this out as much. I've got some real thin pieces here. This is really thin. There's a couple of spots down there. But you get the idea of what this is starting to look like. Once I get this all smoothed out, then I might come back with a grinder and hit up in here and kind of bore those out a little more. But for now, we're just going to sand. Okay, so you can see here how this is starting to get really round and smooth, right? Not smooth, but it's getting rounded. So it's shape that I'm looking for. I'm not looking for baby butt smooth yet. I'm looking for shape. And so when I'm using that 60 grit, I can take all of these little hard edges, I could take these little sharp corners that you see, and I can turn them into this. And so what you want to do is, let's say if I'm hitting this corner right here, I want to flatten that out first with the sander, right? To make it's got a flat edge. And then I'm going to use a rounding motion with the sander like this. Rounding, rounding, and it'll eventually start smoothing out. Again, don't worry about these little rough spots, because we're going to go from 60 up to 120, up to 220, and probably even 320 on this piece, to get all these little nicks out like this, to make sure that I don't have sharp edges like that. I want all my edges to be nice and smooth. So I'm just going to keep working the driftwood with the 60 grit and go from there. That's all for today. And I'm tired. It's hot. I'll see you tomorrow. All right, so we're coming along. I've continued to hit this with with 60 grit as well as 120, getting into all of the little crevices and all of the holes. And I've had to use, I use this bit as well to get into those grooves, because I was really having a hard time. I also use this little Dremel to get back up into here. And then as I'm really getting excited about the way this thing is turning out, I want to show you what happened. So this whole piece cracked off. And that's really disappointing. Now, fixable? Sure, it's fixable. I mean, I can sand this down to where it's just this piece. But it's still disappointing. And I also ended up cracking that piece off. So, the wonders and fun of working with driftwood, right? It's an imperfect wood, but you know, we can still make something out of this. I'm not completely devastated, but it sure would have been better to have that piece a much longer. Anyway, we'll see. It's still beautiful. All right, back at it tomorrow. Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. So y'all know that I love to work with driftwood, right? But it can be a challenge, and it can really test your patience, especially when you're working with little pieces that are real thin like this, you get cracks in the wood. And unfortunately, this piece that I've been working on for about 2 weeks now, cracked right here. So in this video, I'm gonna use an epoxy to see if we can, this is a quick set epoxy, and see if we can go through the process of attaching this to where structurally it's sound. And, you know, granted, it's not going to be bearing any weight or anything, but I was planning on hanging it on a wall. Not like this, unless I want to chop this all up and get a new idea. So y'all stick around and let's go through the process. We'll see if we can learn this together. I will stop along the way and try to communicate as much information. This is the first time for me, so let's enjoy the ride, all right? Okay, so you can see how this piece fits together. And I've got it trying to get this leveled up and matched up is going to be a challenge for sure. But I thought what I'd do is I would put the epoxy in and then see if I can figure out a way to clamp this, because it needs to hold basically, whew, boy, that's a tough one, somewhere right in there, to get this to look right. Actually, if I can prop this up, that's going to be the way to do it. Yeah, I need to get a block of wood or something. Well, there's one thing, I don't have a shortage of wood. I have a shortage of space. I don't have a shortage of wood. That I've got. And I've got a 4x4 right here. Now this is a little bit different than working with a table leg or something like that, because you know, this edge is let me see here. There you go. You see that? I mean, it's, I thought about shaving this and cutting it, making it flat, but it changes the design of this hole right here, and I wanted to avoid that at all costs. So this is why I'm being kind of awkward with this thing right now. So I fiddle around with this thing, just trying to figure out what kind of angle. I don't really have a clamp that would work, you know, it's just hard. So I need to stabilize both pieces. So ultimately, I end up using this vise that I had. It can hold the top piece, and then I only have to worry about the angle of the lower piece. It's a gamble. I knew as I was doing this that this is not gonna work, but I was super hopeful that it would. That's basically what I'm looking for right there, and I've got the resin that I'm gonna mix up, and it's this little mid-cure 15-minute epoxy resin. So you follow the instructions on the back. It's pretty self-explanatory, and you can get right into it. Doesn't take a whole lot. So as you can see, I've already mixed those two together, and I'm just going to put a decent amount, making sure to get in all those cracks, and then give me some pressure, squeeze it together, another layer of epoxy across the top, and making sure that it covers the bottom as well. That's really what I'm looking for, and just hoping that this holds. There might be some other solutions, but this was step one. Okay, here we are a couple days later. You can see how the epoxy set. There's a little bit of a gap in this one. It's not too bad, and I think when I get done with it, it will be okay. I am able to pick this up, and it's pretty stable. However, there's still some movement in this piece, and you can see it's not much, but it's enough. It's enough to where I need to add some better reinforcement. So what I'm going to do is I've got this 3 3/16 inch dowel rod. This is a really narrow gap right here, but I think if I can drill a hole from this side to this side, and then put some epoxy resin on the dowel rod, insert it, then maybe it's kind of like I've had a couple of knee surgeries. This reminds me of replacing an ACL ligament, right? And I'm going to do the same thing with the piece down there. I'm going to drill 3/16 hole, and then again insert dowel rod with a little bit of epoxy on there. Let that set for a day. And then I'll just be able to cut it and sand it off to where it will not be that noticeable, and it'll provide some extra support. So I wanted to make sure I had the right angle before I just went ahead and drilled. I wanted to get enough of both pieces of wood to make that happen. So I do a small pilot hole first, just really paying attention to the angle that I'm coming in to the piece. I go back with the 3/16 inch drill bit and very carefully try to thread that needle right through there. I then put the dowel rod in, and I didn't use resin, I actually used wood glue, but I still have some play in there, and unfortunately I snapped it again. So all right, so that didn't work. Even just as soon as I turned off the TV, turned off the video, I noticed where the crack was, right? And I missed it. This is where the drill hole was, and you heard that little crack. That was this. This piece was probably okay. So now, here's the deciding part. I can now see this is the original crack. Here's the new crack. There's the original crack. I think if I do a flat cut right here and a flat cut right here, put a dowel rod in the middle, and then that way I've got flat surfaces that I'm connecting to, maybe that'll work. So I'm gonna have to try that. I'm not gonna do it today. It's hot, I'm frustrated. The last two projects that I've had have been a pain in my rear. So like I've said before, it's okay when you make mistakes, but when a piece breaks in half, you've got some deciding to do. Because if I can't fix this, right, then I need to be able to figure out a way to cut this to where it looks natural, sand it down to where at least I still have this piece. Because right now, you know, that being off of this makes this, what, almost 2 feet shorter. So it just doesn't have the presence that I want. That's okay. That's part of it. So anyway, I'll pick back up when I've made more progress. So this time around, I'd already cut the wood and it's flat, and so I can do dowel rod from one side to the other on a flat surface, and I think it'll be more stable. So I cut these down and mark my bit to where I'll have just enough on both sides of the dowel rod to anchor to both sides of the driftwood. Now, I'm hoping that it lines up, but I'm expecting that there's probably going to be a little bit of a gap, but I might be able to hide that, at least to where I'm the only one that knows it's there. So I do the wood glue and try to get these two pieces to line up. I've got to drill holes on the top side now. And again, I marked the depth of the bit with some tape to where I don't have too much space on the back end. And just, at this point, this is my last option to save this. And I certainly hope it works, but it does fit. That's for sure. I can tell that it's going to. It'll need a little bit of cleanup. But just in case you ever have a piece that breaks, this is at least an option that you can consider. All right, the good news is this is solid. I can pick it up. There's no movement in there. The bad news is, and I knew this was going to happen anyway, because I cut these pieces that I had used first off of this. And so you can see how uneven it is. You can see that there's a gap. But if I take 60 grit sandpaper and sand this down, I can sand that, right? And then as far as the gap is concerned, I can use some wood filler. I haven't gotten that far in my brain yet, but I'm gonna go ahead and sand this down in the back, and then we'll see what we got. Hey guys, well, lessons learned, right? I mean, this sucker was difficult for me. It took about 3 weeks, and you can see just the amazing colors all the details that are in this thing. There's the back, right? I don't know if you can remember where this thing started at, but it looks really, really cool. I love all the detail. Now, unfortunately, I went through that part where it broke, right? We finally got that taken care of. It's still a little bit wobbly as well, so I've got to handle this one with care. If somebody has a good suggestion on how I should have fixed that, please let me know in the comments. Unfortunately as well, when I was videotaping the final touches, I used tongue oil, I wiped it down, I used a brush, I used a rag, and my iPhone was not recording. So we missed all of that. I apologize. That's just kind of goes with the territory sometimes. Anyway, I really appreciate you guys hanging out and watching this all the way to the end. If you see something that you like, please give me a thumbs up, make that bell go. We're just under 400 subscribers, so I'm really looking for some more subscribers. And last but not least, if you are in the Texas or Central Texas area, come see me in November 9th and 10th at the Palmer Event Center for the Texas Woodworkers Festival. It's gonna be a blast. I've got a booth there and I'm super excited. I'm nervous too, because I typically don't put my finished products in front of people, but I think I'm getting over that because of YouTube, honestly, and y'all's feedback. So again, this was a fun project. It was a long project, but I think you can tell that this sucker turned out really, really awesome. So thanks for tuning in, you guys. Y'all take care.